So it could be a way to find songs, for example.
I'm running out because I got my focus group.
Okay.
I'll let you start in a second.
Sure.
Okay. Focus group.
Okay. Okay, I see. So could it be inside like an MP3 player?
MP3 players inside car radios, inside car nav systems.
So within a radio, you might say, set-top boxes, you might say something like, what, find me.
So for example, you're looking through your channel guide to see a show you like. It's not on for 3 hours and you didn't have a dinner party then. Yes, you can TiVo.
Welcome back, everybody. If you can take your seats, we're going to get started in just a moment. You intrepid people who have stayed here until the end. If you do have planes to catch, I encourage you not to do it until you hear the focus group. That is usually the most interesting point in our conferences. Those who have gone to our conferences before love that, because it is in fact a real focus group where we bring kids in, usually kids, and we ask about, or young people, and we ask about their usage of whatever the technology is that we're discussing at a particular conference. So we, and the person who's asking the questions, Eric Garland from Big Champagne, is probably the leading digital media, certainly the leading Hollywood technology analyst in the world, at least in my view. I'm somewhat biased. And he does a lot of these things for us. And Big Champagne, you'll notice on a daily basis in outlets like the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and so forth. So real authority on that. He'll begin by interviewing the panelists or the young people in the focus group, and then you guys will have a chance to ask your questions after that's over. And usually I have to get people to shut up because they want to keep going long into the day because it's really an invaluable opportunity. So why don't we get, I think it's fitting for us to end our conference here with a look at emerging search engines. So we're looking at the future here. What the future is going to be. In my personal view, I'll just give you, since I don't know that we're going to have an opportunity to discuss this in detail on the panel, but in my personal view, search ultimately becomes part of our reality. So, I mean, we're talking about text, we're talking about video, but ultimately the whole concept goes 3D. I mean, to the extent we heard about people who can do, for example, blinks, who can look at text within a, or shapes within a particular video program on television, and be able to identify specific companies, people, and so forth. The next step is already here, which is the ability to look at reality itself and to be able to hyperlink that. In Japan, in probably not here yet, but in Japan there are barcodes, the equivalent of barcodes that are put on billboards, and when somebody clicks their cell phones at it, that becomes, that gets sent off to a server. That billboard is then a part of a search mechanism. A company that was recently bought, I'm blanking on their name, by Google, does the same thing with advertisements put in magazines. So you can go out as a magazine, you can recruit potential advertisers on the basis of anybody with the cell phone can go in, take a picture of the barcodes in your advertisement, and then be able to get a certain, whatever it is, gift or more information, go directly to their website or whatever, or have more, or be able to download stuff after an SMS. And the final piece, and there have been some attempts, and it's not really grade A yet, but it's not very long until we get there. The final piece is being able to take pictures of shapes with your cell phones and ultimately your cameras, and having those right down to individual people, buildings, you name it. So search is ultimately going to be, in my personal opinion, a part of reality itself, and obviously for media companies that represents not just an incredible opportunity but the basis for their survival going forward. So with that, why don't we turn to our final panel for the conference, and let's, I'll have the panelists introduce themselves from right to left, and then we'll get into the panel.
Your right to left or their right to left?
My right to left.
Good morning. My name is Colin Bruce. I'm with Hitachi America with the Embedded Business Group. Hitachi America has a small embeddable database that has some unique characteristics that you'll be able to use when you store all this data.